2 people are dead. That we know. We have some knowledge about this, but we do not know if this person was ideologically motivated on the left or on the right. And I don't want to see either side doing it, because we know the left historically has always done this. They've always blamed it. And if they can't blame it on a right-wing extremist, then they just blame it on guns, which they claim is the byproduct of right-wing extremists, enter NRA, any of that. Yeah. Minnesota, Vance Bolter. So this is another situation. Today is kind of dedicated to parsing through, I guess, fake news, because I will say this. And I know people will get mad at me, but I think you understand. I've been here since 2008, right, doing alternative media, and that's because I had a lot of roadblocks, in traditional media. It was dropped by my management agency when they found out that I was more right-leaning. Was at Fox News for years. I love that legacy media is no longer a thing. CNN, NBC, no one trusts them. That is great. New media came out, and here's the thing that's a little different. When new media emerged, people like Joe Rogan, people like Andrew Breitbart, it was a time for truth tellers to bypass the gatekeepers. And that's a great thing. Mm-hmm. That's why you see a cultural shift. Truth tellers could reach you directly. So I am not in any way advocating for traditional media. Walter Cronkite was not an unbiased reporter. He was at one point considered, my God, a journalist. He was a hack. It's changed a little bit, where we definitely do have a quote-unquote fake news problem on all sides. The left has had a fake news monopoly for decades. But it's not because of a conservative viewpoint, it's because of click farming. It's because of engagement farming, where someone releases a 2-year-old video and they claim that it's new, where someone changes their stance from month to month because of what the algorithm determines to be most likely to be thrust into your timeline. So there is, some bad with the good right now. We're not in an era where people bypass legacy media to tell the truth. We're in an area where new media is actually mainstream media, and there are a lot of opportunists. On all sides, to be clear. So with this story, the Minnesota shooter who killed these lawmakers, Vance Bolter, he was, allegedly, to be clear, has been caught, has been arrested. And you have people saying this guy's a left-winger, very clearly, and you have people saying this guy's a right-winger, very clearly. If you go to the Reddit threads, if you go to the message boards out there, there are people who are 100% convinced that they're right. Well, what's the truth? And the truth is, hey, sometimes it pays to wait for more information because we don't really know. And I'll get to what we know, but here is what we absolutely know, that Vance Bolter, the person who allegedly killed, I have to say allegedly, the 2 Minnesota lawmakers, has now been captured.
After more than 40 hours on the run, tactical teams close in, capturing Vance Bolter overnight.
There's no question that this is the largest manhunt in the state's history.
Federal, state, and local agencies.
What is with the interpreters?
Yeah, the emotion is weird.
Representative Melissa Holtman and her husband Mark, and in a separate attack, severely injuring State Senator John Hoffman and his wife Yvette. Bullet holes from that shooting visible through their front door.
Wow.
Geez, I'm kind of glad to hear the second part. I thought for some reason that they were dead too. They're seriously injured. Did they end up dying or no?
No.
Was that an initial report?
Two people did die, and then the others, I believe, are still. One may still be fighting for their life, but I'm not entirely sure. This brings us to an installment of Claim Truth. Okay, so the first claim that we'll address. There are those on the left, my left, your right, saying this guy, Bolter, is clearly a right-winger. This is a right-wing extremist, and of course we know the left does that all the time, and they've gotten it wrong many times. Whether it's Dylan Roof, there've been so many shootings that have taken place where they go, biggest threat is white domestic terrorists, particularly those of the conservative persuasion. They're making the same case now. Let me present to you the evidence for their case, because both sides kind of do. Bolter's friend or roommate, who, by the way, nothing this guy said makes sense.
No,
to be clear.
I heard best friends what they said.
Yeah, I bet you this guy's going to start a GoFundMe, and he's going to be fleecing you. But he claimed that this shooter, Bolter, was a Trump supporter, and then of course you have Walls describing the attacks immediately as politically motivated, meaning politically motivated against those on the left.
My good friend and colleague, Speaker Melissa and her husband Mark, were shot and killed early this morning in what appears to be a politically motivated assassination.
We even asked about Mr. Bolter's political affiliations, and David Carlson, once again his roommate and best friend, known him since fourth grade, did say Bolter voted for Trump and that he was a strong supporter.
All right.
Not a strong supporter of mowing that yard.
No.
No.
What else do we have? We have the friend also just said he just had like I guess it doesn't make him right or left, just this guy gave up on life for some reason.
Yeah.
But, and I'll come back to this, the authorities confirmed a manifesto exists. Remember that. They did say that it listed prominent pro-choice individuals in Minnesota, including many Democratic lawmakers, meaning this guy would be someone who is pro-life and was targeting, let's say, abortion clinics, okay? Some other evidence that he may be on the right, allegedly wanted to target other pro-abortion legislators. They say that he preached Christianity in Africa. They say that he had No Kings flyers in his fake cop car, and so some people on the left are saying that's proof he's a right-winger because he wanted to lure people to No Kings or shoot people at the No Kings rally. The attacks happened the morning of No Kings. That's all we have, okay? Here's the claim that you get from some people on the right, that definitively, absolutely, this man is a left-winger. He's a radical leftist. Okay, let me present to you their case. That one of the victims, Melissa Hortman, recently was one of the only representatives who broke with the Dems, voting to deny illegals health care. And so people are saying, hey, it looks like he was shooting this person, targeting this person because they weren't left enough. And by the way, this lady seemed pretty upset after her vote.
I know that people will be hurt by that vote. And we worked very hard to try to get a budget deal that wouldn't include that provision.
Other evidence that this guy is an extreme right-winger, left-winger, to those on the right, is that he was reappointed by Tim Walz to the governor's workforce. The governor's workforce development board is what I think it was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Here's the thing. There was someone else before Walz who appointed him. And it's not uncommon for Democrat governors to appoint Republicans. Like Walz appointed 2 Republican lawmakers to that same board. But that's something that those on the right are presenting. And again, I think there's a case to be made, but it's speculation. But you have people going out there saying, absolutely, this person's a left-wing extremist. Absolutely, this person. I'm telling you that we don't know. They also point out that he worked with African pro-immigrant, this NGO, Minnesota Africans United. Also, those on the right are saying that, hey, this guy was clearly left-wing because he had No Kings flyers found in his fake cop car. So both sides are using it, where those on the right are saying, yeah, see, so he supported No Kings. The left is saying, see, he was targeting those at No Kings. Here's more evidence that I would say most compelling that he might be on the left. The authorities did say there was a manifesto. Yeah. They haven't released it, except for some quotes about pro-choice targets. Of all the information, to me, looking at a behavioral pattern, I go, oh, that's odd.
Yeah.
Because they pulled the same thing with Nashville.
Well, they've pulled the same thing several times. Typically, when it's a right-wing activist, that manifesto hits the web quickly.
Right. So here's the truth. At the end of all this, we don't really know. Here's what we do know. He impersonated an officer when he was committing these attacks. His wife was pulled over, was found with some cash, passports, allegedly a weapon, and then that this man was arrested yesterday after the manhunt, charged with murder. Just so you know, voters in Minnesota don't have to don't have to declare any party affiliation. So that's what we know. We know a whole lot about we don't know.
Yes.
And this guy, obviously, one thing we do know, must have some serious mental problems. And hey, maybe he should get help. He should have sought out medical help. Like, lucky for us, we have right here our nurse on staff to assist.
Let's check your hoo-ha. You, a doctor's life for me.
Excuse me, Mr. Pirate Nurse?
Uh-huh.
Could I talk to you about a condition?
Whoa, I don't treat the wenches anymore on account of being me threed by some Nubian princesses out in Port-au-Prince.
I don't really know what that means, but it'll just take a second.
Change the course of me life. But you seem like a nice lass, so I guess I can make an exception. All right, let's check your hoo-ha.
No. It's not that.
Well, what's got your seeing a weed?
Well, I've been dealing with this migraine, and I could really use some relief.
The old lady migraines, and sometimes it's more than an excuse. Am I right?
Yeah.
What you want to do is rub the shells of 2 giant snapping turtles together. The sound will vibrate through the ocean, your cranium, and soothe all that aches and pains you.
I don't know, that sounds little bit dangerous.
Oh, don't worry, dear. The snapping turtles are big boys. They can handle it.
Oh, well, I was thinking of something a little more, has less turtles?
Less turtles. Less turtles. Well, I suppose you could try this. It's one of these newfangled ibuprofens. But I warn you, it won't make the soothing sound of two turtles.
That's fine.
Now leave me to do my research, wench.
Oh, what you researching?
Turtles.
Oh.
It's always turtles. Let's check your hoo-ha.
We have a lot of useless retainers. CEO, maybe you can help us with that. Look, this is something we kind of promised going into this year specifically. We also had the clean slate with social media. People make mistakes. We've made mistakes many times. If we have come out after shootings have happened and told you, hey, it seems pretty clear what the motivation is. This person seems to be lining up with a political ideology, both on the left and the right. So when we do that, going forward, it means that we have genuinely good reason and evidence to believe it. We also think it's pretty necessary because if our side is going to undo, sort of decondition the programming from the leftist, the legacy media, then you only get so many chances at bat where if you're inaccurate and if you're willfully inaccurate, people stop believing you. And people going out right now, look, 2 people are dead. That we know. We have some knowledge about this, but we do not know if this person was ideologically motivated on the left or on the right. And I don't want to see either side doing it because we know the left historically has always done this. They've always blamed it. And if they can't blame it on a right-wing extremist, then they just blame it on guns, which they claim is the byproduct of right-wing extremists, enter NRA, any of that. Yeah. But I've definitely seen quite a few people on the right now go to straight away, we know for a fact this person is left because he worked for Tim Walz. Let's wait until we get more information. And the story may be, like Nashville, that they withheld information deliberately because they knew it would reflect badly on one political party. That could be a story, but it can't be covered accurately if we jump the gun just to try and get some clicks. And I get the algorithm doesn't like that, but that's why we're very appreciative to serve, not an algorithm, you. We are funded by you, supported by viewers like you. Please, if you enjoy this and you want more free content, consider joining Rumble Premium. There's 100% more show from us every day. You also get like 8,000% more content on Rumble Premium. The entire thing ad-free, $99 a year. You get this wonderful hand-etched mug. Mug Club is now Rumble Premium. We've expanded this, widened the umbrella, or try it for $9 a month. Otherwise, everything we would do would have to be about the algorithm.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you this, this will get drowned out. This will not get as many views or as clicks as this person was a radical left-wing extremist, or this person was clearly a right-wing nut job. That will get the clicks, that will get the views, and unfortunately that means that a lot of people will believe one of those narratives before we have any idea as to what the complete truth is.
Yeah.
So we do appreciate your support.
Yeah, so many people on the right are kind of falling into that same trap where they're saying they're doing what we've actually called out for years and said, like, hey, don't do this. Don't rush to blame an ideology for this necessarily because we don't know what the motivation was for this. We need to understand that, right? And make sure that I think we should release the manifestos every single time. Like,
absolutely. I think it would reveal that this guy, either left or right, just had a completely misconstrued concept of what's going on in the world around him.
Yeah.
Just bonkers, I bet.
Right. Probably also just a very self-absorbed person.
Yeah.
I'm willing to bet. Murder's kind of a selfish act.
Yeah, I mean they're looking to blame
premeditated murder too. He would like.
Well, he didn't
got
get charged for that.
Cop
How did
car.
that?
He gets the outfit. He goes to their homes when they're sleeping.
The crazy thing to me is they found him not that far from his house,
like in the woods, right?
Yeah, it's like the manhunt across the state, like shows him going back home. Oh, he's right there. Why don't you start from the house out?
Yeah, well,
the last place we never looked. Yes,
it's possible.
He's hiding in plain sight. Clever. Hey, Rumble viewer, if you like this video, follow me. Hit that follow button right there. Especially if you download the app, you'll get notifications when we are live, 11 a.m. Eastern, because we want to drive the stake through the heart that is YouTube. Turns out they don't have a heart. So we thought maybe we'd use some silver bullets, but that's just werewolves. And then something happened with a hair puppet. Turns out that makes me the witch. Just follow here on Rumble. There's new content every day.